Welcome to another Hi exclusive right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. It's another beautiful day here at International Institute of Health Sciences in Valisara, and it's my privilege to be sitting down with its co-founder and CEO, Dr. Kitsuri Edrisinghe. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Hello.
Well, we have known for so long that IIHS has been a pioneer in providing education to healthcare professionals and providing a global passport for them to go out into the world and providing skilled labor, skilled professionals to go out into the world. So today we are going to be talking about the contribution that IIHS is making towards promoting global citizens, towards promoting a global passport to students in Sri Lanka, and not only in Sri Lanka but all over South Asia. So Doctor, now IIHS has been around for 20 years, 2 decades, and a lot of work has gone into it. Looking back, how do you feel about the accomplishment and all the work that you have put in?
Yeah, it's indeed a fascinating story of IIHS. How it started was a simple concept of few medical consultants from California, Sri Lankans, came to Sri Lanka with a view to answer a national problem. The national problem is the exporting of slave labor or housemaids to Middle East. They saw that and they thought they should do something about it, give something back to the country, and they saw this concept called exporting skilled labor. They thought best way to export the skilled labor was nursing. So that was their initial intention. With that mindset, they established a small nursing school in Kandy, and then started with about 20 students. It had evolved today to well over 3,000 students, and it has spread from nursing to the other sectors as well in all healthcare training programs. If you really look back personally, I am so happy and privileged, humbly privileged to be in this organization, and professionally look at it. Professional point of view, we have added a lot of value to nursing profession, and from organizational, if you look at it, we had few milestones. We are the first to start this International University Learning Center concept, where students would study 3 years in Sri Lanka and complete the final year in either in USA, Finland, UK and Australia. So with that concept, well over 700 students have gone out of the country. Now they are doing very well in those countries. Then the next milestone was the professional upliftment of the existing nurses. So with the request of the industry, the nurses themselves, we've started training existing government nurses and the private sector nurses with a bachelor's, master's and the doctorate of nursing qualifications. So currently we have, I think, well over 2,000 nurses are studying with us, government and private sector nurses. They are doing bachelors mainly, and then of course we have moved on creating professional status, improving the professional status of nurses, and then latest milestone was we have started working with the industry. So we work closely with the National Health Services of UK and of course KIUK organization, which are basically employers for these prospective students. And if you look at the students' perspective, and they have achieved a lot. And not only they are working in a top 10 countries, they are enjoying the high quality status that they have. They also academically, they have published well over 1,000 research articles. That's a record by itself. Also we managed to get them aligned with global concepts. So overall it's indeed a fascinating project, and as I told you before, I'm really humbly really proud about the achievements.
Now, with the current climate, with the current times now, the results are out for the A-level students, and a lot of students are out there looking for a different pathway than the normal conventional way of education. So as an educator in the field for about 25 years, what would your advice be to them, and how would you tell them, and what would you tell them about IIHS?
It is indeed a timely and a very important question which lingered around all the parents and the kids today after A-levels. why do you want to go out of the country? Are you scared going out of the country? You think because of the lack of petrol you want to rush and do things? No, you are going to make a major decision in your life. From here onwards you are going to get into a career. You will have to really sit back, relax, then you have to start thinking what you want to do. So when you take decisions emotionally, everyone knows it can go either way, and there's 90% chance you can go wrong, because you will have to think and study, analyze, then pick a one. So what I'm going to do now, after A-levels, if you have good results, there's free education in the government sector universities. That's the best place to go for you if you have the high qualification, high results in Sri Lanka. And then especially when you want to do a government job and stay in Sri Lanka, so you should go to the government universities, right? The others, only 35 to 40,000 can go there. So rest will have to take another decision. So what they should do is look at the private sector. The private sector, we have UGC recognized and UGC approved organization which deliver high quality programs, and they are quite affordable. All the players are there delivering very affordable programs, and so those are the organizations. Now what is the program you are going to select? That's very important. No? All depends on what you want to achieve. So everyone wants to have a happy, enjoyable, fruitful life with has all the perks around you. So to do that, you should really look at now for you to do a degree, let's say a bachelor's degree after A-levels, it takes about 4 to 5 years, maximum 4 years. So when after 4 years, you should really look at whether these jobs will be available. There may be a hot job now, but that might go off in another 5 years. So it's good to go, Google is your friend, just go to Google, analyze, go and see what are the top jobs available at the moment and the sustainability of that job, how many years that will be there. Once you come out, how the market would be. So once you do that, then you can select a program which will support you to achieve your dream. So this talking about dreams, now a lot of people dream about stuff, but currently everything is right in front of you. We call it there are no dreams, but there is a massive reality in front of you. You have to achieve that. Going forward, there are few different options in the private sector. One, you could do a part of the program in Sri Lanka, and you can travel to the final year into the countries that I mentioned before, something similar, 3+1, 2+2 models. That would save you certain amount of money. And the second thing is you can complete the total program in Sri Lanka and then you can go to work. The economic scale is that if you are going to do a bachelor's degree in any of the top countries, now you have to spend about roughly around 22 to 25 million rupees, that's about 250 lakhs. If you have money, you can go immediately, it's about 3 years, but mind you, another 10 million should be added to this for your food and lodging for 3 years. So altogether about roughly around, let's say 30 million, that's a quite amount of money. So therefore we have to really think, can you fund this, where the funds are going to come from, etc., etc. And the other thing is that all these money comes from your parents. So parents hard earned money. So you have to really look at when you take a decision, what's the best pathway which will not disturb the parents. And finally, if you do the program, part of the program in Sri Lanka, and if you go out of the country for the final year or the last 2 years, you can save about 70% of the cost, what I mentioned. And if you do the total program in Sri Lanka, you can save well over 90% of the cost that I mentioned. And you are going to work fully oriented, your parents can see you and then observe you. One of the greatest times in your life, you are getting into youth, from the teen to the youth. So that time it's nice to spend with your parents as well. So those are the basic points that I would like to forward to you all.
Well, there you go. If you're somebody who has just finished your A-levels, come on over to IIHS in Valisara, get the information that you need and plan out your education for a long period of time. We'll be going for a short break and we'll be back. Welcome back to the show. I'm in conversation with Dr. Kitsiri Adrisinghe, who is the CEO and co-founder here at IIHS. Tell me, Doctor, IIHS is connected with healthcare. Why healthcare?
It's very important questions. A lot of people used to ask us. If you look at the industries which are growing and which is sustainable, the question that I had answered before, the sustainability is very important. So if the job is sustainable, then you are quite sure you are going to get a job once you graduate. But healthcare is all about humans. As long as a human is a human, there is always a sickness, because imbalance in the systems, we have to balance the systems. So therefore, healthcare will be there forever. And from that also, we also looking at mostly which is closer to the care, mainly nursing and the other caring and other related professionals which are very close to humans. So therefore, as long as a human is going to be humans, there will be healthcare jobs forever.
Have you ever considered going into medicine specifically?
That's a popular topic. All the organizations' intention is to put up a medical school. My answer to that is we could add more value. I'm not saying the doctors are not important; they are very important. But there are so many people there to train them. So many medical schools in the world, and it's about 6 to 7 year program. And for you to earn a good money or the revenue, it takes about 10 years for you to organize. Versus the programs that we offer, it will take maximum 4 years. And the investment is much less, maybe one fifth of the cost. And then after A levels, by your 24 years, you can earn about $5,000 salary. I mean, that what more you can ask for. And the second one is that you add value if you make a one doctor, so he could see a patient. There's a limitation in scope, value addition. But if you make nurses, you can make many nurses in the same investment as well as the same space. So you add more value to the society. So that's one of our DNAs, adding goodness to the society. Aligning with that, we would like to stay as we are, and then there's enough scope, enough job demand for nursing and other allied health sciences.
Well, there you go. That's a different perspective to education in health sciences altogether. Now, IIHS has introduced this concept called a global citizen. Tell us, Doctor, what exactly is a global citizen?
Global citizen concept came after the COVID. When COVID hit us, we were not sure what to do. All around the country, world, the small local problem in China became a global problem with us. So what the future 21st century youth or the professionals who are coming out should be able to face any global issue that's going to come in front of them. So these global issues are different aspects. So you should be able to have another nice gearbox, think fast, take decisions, to understand how to work with the others. You can't tackle global things alone. And then you have to be timely. You should be evidence based. You should do research and then come and take a decision. It's all about decision making. We saw what happened to the world without making proper decisions on time. So many people could have been prevented, but still, so some really work hard. There were a lot of input given by the healthcare professionals, and then but the synergy of healthcare professionals managed to get us across the pandemic. But what we do here is to preparing our youth as a global citizen. Now, what is a characteristic of a global citizen? One, they have to have a recognized qualification. That is the knowledge that they should have. That knowledge should be today, not yesterday. And they should be able to have to gather knowledge for tomorrow as well. So that we do. Our education system at IIHS is student-driven education. It's surrounding students, but it's student-driven education. They have a part of study. So they are in the education system. So therefore they enjoy the environment. So we create a very enjoyable environment for students to study. The second thing is now we can bake the cake, but you need icing for cake to somebody to eat the cake. So therefore the icing is that the co-curricular activities that we do are making sure that they are more evidence-based, more critical thinkers, and then they could work with any environment. So we have certain research conferences and reflective practices where they would get this evidence-based mindset and to work with themes, to work with, to come up with leadership characteristics. All that are developed through about 5 committees. We have 5 committees, student council, which get them to work together and go into community, understand things. And then there is a scientific committee who would involve in conferences, workshops, and then research. Then there is Mad Society, music, arts and drama and dance. So that would create the right brain simulation, because when you really study science, we always stimulate the left brain. We want them to do one thing and one thing perfectly. That's how the healthcare professionals. But the thing is, when you are in the industry, you get a lot of problems. When you have a tunnel vision with a more of a convergent thinking, it's very difficult to sort out problems that you are in front of you. So it's very important to get the left brain also stimulated, and of course the life needs music, life needs dance, life needs arts. So you create an environment, not a stubborn frozen environment versus the very lively, bubbly environment you should create wherever you go. So that's what we have done, and then you go around and see, you can see all very smiling and very happy kids who are doing great job. You know, their GPAs are over 3.5 by the time they leave here. That's indeed an achievement for us.
Well, there you go. Maintaining balance seems to be an important factor that the educators here at IIHS are considering. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how IIHS is partnering up with the industry to give you an overall education to forward your career. Welcome back to the show. Now, before the break, we were going to talk about how IIHS is partnering up with the training with the industry to create a more training-based learning system for the students. Now, I'm talking with Dr. Kitsiri Edrisinghe, who is the CEO and co-founder here at IIHS. Now, they have this very novel concept which is unique to them. It's a concept created by them called Work Ready, Nurse Fast at Low Cost. Tell us a little bit about this concept, Doctor.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept based on the industry demand. Now, if you really look at the world, they need well over 13 million nurses now in top 10 countries. So if you really look at the overall context, maybe roughly around our population, around 20-21 million nurses needed. To train a nurse, the current modalities are, it takes minimum about 4 years. Maybe more, and it's highly costly. The training programs are very costly, lot of human resource involved, and you need training facilities involved, all that. And also we saw some of the nurses post-COVID are retiring early. So that also created more pressure on this, the scarcity of nurses. So looking at this different countries, we came up with this concept, work ready, nurse fast at low cost. What is work readiness? Readiness, you create a global nurse who could go and work anywhere in the world. So she has all the features that I mentioned before, a critical thinker, a decision maker, evidence-based thinker, and she's very flexible, she's very agile, can move and fit into any country. So currently what we create is Europe, United States, Australia and UK. So that's how all the curriculum and all that have been created. Work ready and thinking nurse. Then the second thing is creating work-ready nurses are not easy, because there are always, nursing is a regulated industry. Because they are working with the human resources, they always wanted to work with control this healthcare. So therefore, they you have to get the respective ministries of health, departments of health, and then regulatory nursing bodies are involved in this. It's not easy, as I told you before, but when you look at the nurses, you can categorize, reduce the work burden of a registered nurse or a bachelor's note, or the nurse who's in charge, and then there are senior nurses. So under that you can get categories called, there are several categories called enrolled nursing or associate nursing. It's a 2-year program. Then you are work ready, you can go and reduce the burden. About 60% of the work done by a nurse, they can take it. Then you have healthcare assistants. So healthcare assistants also take some of the burden. So this is an answer to a current problem, because otherwise this problem will aggravate. The demand is getting escalated every day. So this is one of the programs that we have created, different programs for different countries, but they are ready to go and work anywhere in the world. Secondly, how do you do it fast? The traditional way of looking at healthcare training is that, now being a medical doctor, when I was in the medical school, we were asked to see as much as possible the patients. Go and see many patients, then you become a good doctor. So so thankfully those days patients did not complain, and we basically took the patient as a guinea pig, if I may say, when you reflect back. So nowadays it is kind of against the basic ethics. They would tell you, you train yourself and go and see a patient. That's with all the health and safety standards. So there's no lab rats in front of us for us to get ourselves trained or get the skills. So therefore, before you go and see that patient, there are a lot of techniques that you can use, simulations, demonstrations, working with actors. There are patient actors, they could be patient actors, students by themselves. So there are a lot of strategies that we use, and the latest addition is extended reality, where you can go inside with a headset, go inside the hospital and see them and talk to the patient, get those skills before you see that patient, even including doing some of the procedures. Most of the procedures you can do through that. So you reduce the risk of that, the lab rat story that I mentioned, and then you can make it faster rather than waiting for students to go through the whole harangue of this, versus you can create the soft skills within that time. And then low cost. So if you really look at our way of doing things in this part of the world, now we deliver the Coventry University Bachelor's in Nursing program at 1/10 of the cost, which is delivered in UK. So similarly, so we are really looking at this concept, and one day the objective of this, definitely it will support the existing nurses and the youth in this part of the world and also South Asia, and we would like to get the students from first world, because it's affordable. So everywhere the healthcare training cost is high, so we think this concept would be global, and finding solution to a global problem, that is the global nursing shortage.
Well, we were talking about how IIHS relies on industry training, and you concentrate heavily on that. Why do you go ahead and concentrate so much on industry placements and working hand in hand with the industry as part of the curriculum itself?
Yes, very good question. This education is that we generally, how we create a program is, we look at the industry and then we look at who are the students who are coming in. So there's a student profile and there's a job description of this person. So we'll have to make a bridge between this, then you achieve, once the student come out, he can grab that job because he's best suited for that job. But the industry is changing very rapidly every day. So before when we started the curriculum, there were no computers, let's say. Now there's a computer system. So once they come out, they'll be clueless because everything is computerized. You have to enter stuff. So likewise, we work very closely with the industry we get industry input every year, and then we try to change the curriculum accordingly. And that's one way, working closely with the industry. Now the latest milestone that we have was to work with the industry, where they come and pick the graduates from Sri Lanka. So that's what we have worked with. Now NHS, National Health Service, is the largest healthcare provider in UK, and Care UK, largest social and care network in UK. Both are coming to Sri Lanka and pick them from the education institute. There's somewhat guaranteed pathway for students, and they could pick the students well, and then students also can see them well. They can adapt to those environments and adjust them. So it's a win-win situation for the employer as well as our graduates. And most of all, there are agents in between, human resource agents. That's the traditional way of doing things. Agents would pick from the universities and hand it over to the employers. There's a lot of money in there. I mean, they do a service, but we were wondering if they can put that money into training, so we can further subsidize the things that we are doing here. That's the path that we are going to take forward. And once we created the path, so since we are the leaders in this industry, all the others can follow us.
Well, there you go. In conclusion, Doctor, now, with somebody with so much experience and an established institution here at IIHS, what are your final words to the parents and the students who are sitting out there and thinking, where do I go next? Now I've finished my A-levels, I'm thinking health sciences, I'm not sure if I want to take health sciences. Even if I do, where exactly do I study? Which course do I choose? Your final overall answer, why come to IIHS? The first request that I would like to make is, in the kids' work, chill now. Don't panic. Just sit back, because you are going to make most of the main decision in your life, selecting a profession. So you have to stay back, and both the parents, not to panic. I mean, Sri Lanka is not going to drown in the Indian Ocean. It's going to be here. We are here. So therefore, slowly analyze what options available, and you can select a program. And also it's nice to see the outcome of each organization. Now, so if we proudly say that we are the leaders, why we are saying leaders? We have about 700 youth working all over the world, including New York, etc., Melbourne, London, etc., etc. So they can easily, because everyone is available virtually, they can go there and see whether the stories are, what's the truth in it, how much if they are, is it closer to reality, and that's what they have to do. So whatever the program that they select, they should go and be evidence based and select a decision that would pave way for a prosperous, sustainable and enjoyable future. Well, plenty of information given out today. Come to IIHS in Valisara, talk to the student advisors, go on their website, get the numbers, call them, get the right kind of information and make a wise decision at this point in time, which is the biggest decision that you'll make in your life. Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for talking to us. And until we see you again with another Hi exclusive, take care and be safe.